Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Factorio Bob's Angels, episode 5. Welcome to this post-commentary of a recording I've literally just finished doing. So in this episode, I want to get the proper bus science production started, and what better way to start that than getting a carbon set up, which is just not needed for those science. And straight away, we get attacked by the biters yet again. I think this is going to be a theme for the next few episodes until I get some proper defenses set up. To begin with, I just have these crude turrets set up, which are just awful. But yeah, while I'm down here, the biters are just non-stop. Now, I believe this is the hunting of the character part of the rampant AI. So I kind of figured out that I was just... if you get kind of even slightly close to the biter bases, they come out and hunt you, and they of course come and start taking down this water line, which is ridiculously close to the edge of the enemy bases. So I quickly get carbon set up as fast as I can down on this sub bus, which will make more and more sense the more things I get producing on it. It's only certain items, it's not going to be everything. It's like, I don't know, resource altering, if you want to call it that. Bit of a weird name to give it. It's what it is. What I said before, it's a sub bus for the production of various Bob's mods stuff. Slightly misplaced the water, but now the carbon is up and running. We get that passed over with underground belt. But yeah, we get that onto the main bus, clear some trees. But yeah, the biters, big problem. Could be an early end to this series. I could have set myself something far too tricky. Set the carbon line one too high, so we have to go back, otherwise it clashes with the tinned copper wire. Don't know why I feel the need to get the next level of circuit boards produced before the science. It doesn't necessarily need to be. I guess it's just nice to have all the circuits being produced next to each other. Yeah, no real reason. I think I'm just a bit weird like that, you know. But we get the production for it spaced out. Now, someone kindly gave me the information on the ratio for the basic circuit boards. It's 3 copper wire to 4 basic circuit boards, so I may rebuild that in between episodes. Just not sure how I'm going to get 3 copper wire assemblers equally spaced out for 4 basic circuit board assemblers, but we'll give it a go. I mean, I could use belt. I just don't want it to become a bottleneck on the production. I guess it's when it's 3 to 4, belt's not really going to be too bad. It's not like the belt's feeding the entire setup. Yeah, we get the carbon hooked up for the next level of circuits, get all the resources fed into there. I believe I have the ratio right on this one. It's 2 electronic parts to 1 circuit board assembler. Now I think about it, it's been ages since I did that, and I can't remember if that ratio is right, but hopefully someone will let me know again. I can always change it at a later date. It's nice to get them producing, because as soon as this is under production, that's essentially everything that the sub base is doing, and later down the line we can look at dismantling it. So I get the basic setup functioning, and then I extend it by another 2. This will be used more further along the bus, and I'll expand it as need be. We also have a huge number of trees to clear to get the science going, so we start doing it by hand, but then rack out the nanobots. Yeah, it's a waste of an unnecessary use of resource, should I say. It is nice and quick, but I could do it by hand. Also, just mark out, for my sanity's sake, where the road essentially is. That won't have transport belts, underground belts in it in the future. That'll be completely traversed by red underground belts as they go twice the difference. It's 10 spaces in between anyway, so it's 2 yellow underground belts. So we go up and dismantle the old temporary red science production, because A, we don't need it anymore, we've done all the red science, and B, we can use the resources for it to produce the new science area. Because before I tackle the biters and obtain more resources outside of the starting area, I want to get some of the green science production done, i.e. Mark II turrets, better turret damage and bullet damage, because essentially I'm going to save resources by increasing the amount of damage a turret's going to use, because it's going to use less ammo per biter it's going to kill. So hopefully you can save a bit there. Don't know if it's going to be enough. because I'm really concerned about that factor. Yeah, I've be honest, I've done Death Worlds before, not had a problem with them really, but I've not really counted the fact that we're doing rampant AI, and if I go anywhere near the edge of the starting area, they just come and hunt me down relentlessly. So we get the power poles placed out. Quite like this design. It's quite compact as far as the width of the row is concerned. It can go on as long as you want to extend it. Don't know if there's better layouts, but I've always kind of stuck with this. It works especially well with the Bob's adjustable inserters, but I have done it in vanilla as well. Quite like it. It gets everything produced for red and green science all onto one belt. And I believe the throughput's all alright. I've not noticed any problems with it in the past, but it's the later science, because we're running Research Revolution. That's one of the mods we've got. So I believe the science after this is grey, and I've no idea. I've not looked at it yet, so that's going to be probably a whole episode in itself, just trying to work out how that's done and how I'm going to lay it out. It'd be boring and just do it with bots, but I don't know. We shall see. So we carry on, get the transport belt and yellow inserter assembler up and running. Get the red and green science assemblers placed out. So the transport belt and the yellow inserter pass out onto the one belt, and then using normal inserters and long-handed, the green and red science pass over onto the other belt, and that'll get fed up to the science labs. Get the poles placed out to power everything in there, and then we start placing the science labs that we went and robbed, leaving a space for the other sciences to pass through and a gap for another belt, using long-handed inserters again to pass into the labs and the electric poles. I then select what's research first out of the green science, and for some reason we need to go for red belt if we weren't using enough resources already. We also have a quick look at the power and we notice we're running low already, so that's another thing we're going to need to sort. But we get some wall production set up, ready for war, because I think we're going to be ready soon. We also head up to increase the production of ammunition in the temporary base and refuel the smelters for that ammunition. We also cut off the stereotyte, as that copper is no longer needed in the temporary base. We clear the trees for the new steam engine column and move the turrets up. These were produced at the start of the episode, I believe, or may have been just before I started recording. But I also realised I haven't got enough iron to produce the burners and inserters for it, so that stumps my attempt at preemptive construction there. So we have to head down to the temporary base to pick up some more iron. I like using burner inserters. They're not as efficient, but if the power goes out due to lack of coal, I just need to resupply it with coal. I don't need to go up and purge some of the boilers to have power for that coal to start mining again. If that makes any sense at all, I can just chuck some on the belt. It'll go and feed it. Although what I've just said kind of doesn't really make any sense now I think about it, because the mine is not going to put any coal on the belt if no power. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably change in the future. Maybe keep a few on burners. But we get the gun turret damage up and running, because that's going to help hopefully save a bit of resources. Now, I'm not a big fan of turret creeping, but considering the circumstances, the fact it's a death world and rampant AI, I'm pretty sure, or I hope, I'll be forgiven. Don't know how people feel about turret creeping these days, but I usually try and avoid it. I will late game when I have the right equipment. But the other thing I've realised this episode that we're missing on the bus that we're going to need soon is steel. As if I wasn't using enough resources already. We're not producing any steel. But I also noticed I can't find Mark II turrets in the research, and get a bit frustrated in the research menu trying to find it. Do a couple of searches and I just give up eventually. But yeah, what I worked out after recording is I've completely missed out the Bob's Warfare mod. It was in my list of things to download. I just seem to have completely been oblivious to it. So yeah, that's one thing past me has still not realised. I believe I go in and have another look in a bit. But we get the steel production up and running. I believe Bob's mods changes the ratio of iron plates to steel. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, so I just lay out what I would usually do, which is one row of iron production for steel. But I think it's going to need more. I don't know. I'll have a look, or hopefully someone will tell me. But yeah, we've got those ratios corrected, because I do like having nice ratios. It's you know, it's nothing like having everything working at the right speed. Hence why I've got bottleneck installed. I quite like that mod. It's what the green icon is on. Everything's just to show it's running at the right speed. Green means it's all running okay. It's got enough resources, and it's those resources being used. Excuse me. Yellow means it has produced a resource, but it's not going anywhere. It's idle. And red means it's not getting enough of whatever it needs to function in the first place. So yellow is better than red, but green is clearly the best. So we get the coal and the iron shifted over for the new assembly area. But yeah, why not find another excessive use of resources to make this even harder for me? But I am going to need quite a bit of steel. Don't know if it's wise to go for piercing ammo, but I do need steel for piercing ammo. But I can always shut this off at any point. I think I checked the iron reserves at the start of this. There's around 50k iron sat in the warehouse buffer for the sapphirite. I also looked at the map at the start of the episode, and I still not scanned any sapphirite, so kind of panicking there. We've got the javolite to work towards, but if that runs out, we're going to be pretty squished. So I need to use what resources we can. Maybe next episode. I did say this episode was going to be the start of war, but I'm just not ready yet. I need more stuff. I need to use more resources and just make it that much more difficult for me. So I have another quick look in the menu for turrets, and I decided to go for inventory slots, you know, always handy. But yeah, that is getting a bit tight on the inventory side of things. I try and push out the road, but being as we've done the wall production, most of that's being used for walls, which is fine. Not a problem there. That's just going to help me running about a bit. But we get the steel laid out on the bus. Relay some underground belts for the various resources heading for the sub-bus, because they're in the way. Don't need to be there. I've laid out quite a bit of space for stuff on the bus. There's enough space for 4 iron, 4 copper, and once we go to red underground belts, there'll be another 2 lanes free in between those 4, because with the underground belt redux or redo, they go twice as far. Now we also start to dismantle the old temporary base, because it's not needed. All this is being done on the main bus now. This is not needed, but my inventory does start to fill up. We do have a warehouse to dump all this stuff in, so I get rid of as much as I can. I've just noticed there's still 181 red science packs in there that I haven't got rid of. Yet another little look in the research there for Mark II turrets, because it's something I really need, and sniper turrets as well, very handy. I believe sniper turrets, as long as they're not overwhelmed by numbers, are more efficient at killing than normal turrets. And efficiency of killing is what we're going to need if we're going to get through this. But yeah, we shall see. I've also just noticed another sapphirite mine has run out, which is just, it's fantastic. We're just going to run out of that stuff. So we decide to get the stereotype. That's right, please, God tell me. Get the stereotype production up and running, because we do get some iron from that, and we haven't mined very much of that yet. So if we can get that running now, get the iron from that stockpiling beforehand, that'll give us a bit of an emergency reserve to fall back on, which is going to be handy. So yeah, I guess the plan is to survive this is going to be build up a bit of technology, get some Mark II turrets and some sniper turrets together, get a whole load of ammo, get that bullet damage up and turret damage, and try and initially push down to the javolite ore down in the south, and try and get that back. It means we're also going to have to get trains in. We also get attacked down at the new smelting area already. It's one biter that I guess was out scouting, but I decide now that that started to buffer in the smelters, I decided to shut that down. So we head back and continue with the stirrotite crushing and sorting. Got the crushed buffer set up. We also get the crushed stone output onto the crushed stone bus, if you will. And also the chest to start buffering that copper and iron from that, because that's going to be really handy. But yeah, we shall see in the future how it goes with the biters. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be close. I'm confident I can pull through. I've done Death Worlds before. It's just the rampant AI. I don't know how the other aspects are going to affect it. Either way, we shall see. That's going to be all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. Most importantly, I do hope you enjoyed. I'll hopefully see you guys next time. Bye-bye.